Hey, fabulous people. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Elise Tager, business coach for ambitious female entrepreneurs, and I am delighted that you're here with me today. We are going to be discussing the 5 crucial steps to shift from solopreneur to CEO and experience amazing growth in just 6 weeks without breaking the bank or becoming completely overwhelmed. So I'm delighted that you're here. You know, whenever I do these presentations, I feel like I'm giving a party. So thank you for coming to my party. So who is this for? If you're a solopreneur and want to grow your business but don't know how to get going off the hamster wheel of doing, if you're not happy as a one-woman band and you want to make some changes, you are in the right place. So does this sound like you? Cash is always tight. No matter what you're doing, you're out of money by the next month. Cash is always tight. You're exhausted. You've been working 24/7. You've been working like this for a long time. Business might be great, but you are reaching a point where you know you can't, this isn't sustainable and you just can't keep going. So you are exhausted. You desire a business that fits your life, not a business that has to wrap around your life. So we're going to talk a lot about work-life balance and how to make that happen for you. You've struggled with never being able to take a vacation. Oh my gosh, isn't that one of the primary symptoms of being a solopreneur, is that you just can't get away from your clients or your desk or anything else. You are stuck. You can't take a vacation or time off. Or you've said no to a new opportunity because you couldn't handle the additional work. Isn't that a travesty? It could be that the passion has gone. You know, when we all start our businesses, most of us start with a real passion for the what of what we're doing. And after the first year or so where you are working pell-mell and doing probably a great job, you just find that the grind of doing it every day has gotten rid of that passion. So your passion is gone and you get up in the morning and you wonder, why did I start this again? Or you know where you want to go with your business, but you can't figure out how to get there. You are in the right place. So in the next 50 minutes, I'm going to show you the 5 steps that I used to grow my business to over $1 million in revenue in only 12 months. I'm going to show you how to identify your obstacles and get out of your own way and make growth happen, because most of what happens, most of the barriers we face are really between our ears. We are getting in our own way. I'm going to show you how to avoid a feeling of loss of control as you think about building a team, and even if you've made hiring mistakes in the past. We'll talk about that. And I'm going to help you transform your fear of spending money into a healthy understanding of investment to help you build your business. We're going to discuss understanding what it actually means to work on your business, not in it, like a true CEO. So this is my promise to you. You know, every solopreneur is different. Each has strengths and weaknesses and different levels of commitment to their success. And how you apply the information I'm going to share with you today is up to you. But from working with literally hundreds of solopreneurs and small business owners in the last 10 years, I know that with these strategies I'm giving you today, these will allow you to generate more revenue and create a balanced business and life so that you can grow even further. I've had 4 businesses, and I'll talk about me in a little bit, and have been very successful. But I also know what it means to struggle, and I'd love to promise to save you the pain, which is really why I wanted to do this masterclass for you today. So I know exactly what works and the mistakes you need to avoid right from the start. So why is this important now? Look at that little guy lost in the weeds. I hope that's not you, but it could be. Every day you spend as a solopreneur, let me emphasize that, is hampering your ability to grow your business. Tick-tock, you know, time is money. So that hamster wheel of being super, super busy all the time with no end in sight is so exhausting, and it does kill your passion. And it kills your passion for life, not just your business. So that hamster wheel is exhausting and it's not sustainable. So even if your business is doing well, Ms. Solopreneur, after that first year, it's not sustainable. You can't work like this forever. You can't think you're going to grow a business at this level of output. You're just going to be too exhausted. You're going to be too fried. So think about, again, why is now important? How much revenue are you losing weekly because you're lost in the weeds of doing your business, not creating your business like a CEO really does? So if you stay until the end, I have a free gift with you. I love to give away gifts, so please stay with me, and I'll tell you about that in the end of the webinar, so don't go away. So the real problem right now, if you're a solopreneur and you're tearing your hair and you're working 24/7, is you don't have a process to get out of that hole. But this is why we're here. I've got you. So once you take these steps that I'm going to describe for you today, you'll have absolute confidence, you'll feel in complete control, and have the ability to greatly increase your income. No more working night and day, no more feast or famine in your revenue, and no more lack of work-life balance, which is probably the biggest complaint I hear from the solopreneurs that I work with. So these are the 5 steps that I use now, you use today with my clients, that you need to finally start to grow your business. And I'm going to walk you through these steps today. So who am I? Who is this woman talking to me with the glasses? I offer proven and practical techniques gained from extensive experience, both as a CEO of several thriving companies and as a dedicated business coach working with clients like yourself. I've been running successful businesses for over 20 years. Those are gray hairs that you see. I've run a media buying agency for over 11 years, focused on lead generation and later on social media strategy for high-tech clients. I've been a speaker, a trainer, and an educator on online marketing. So as I say, I've had multiple businesses, have gone through many, many ups and downs, and have learned this process along the way. And I'd love to help you avoid some of the pain that I went through. So here's my why. This is my fabulous family. That's my husband on the left-hand side, my wonderful daughter, Isabel, in the center, and my film buff, Sam, son, on the right-hand side. These are my why. This is the reason I get up in the morning. This is what makes me happy. I know everybody says that. The reason I put this in front of you right now is if you're a solopreneur, you are stressed and working 24/7 and frazzled all the time, you take this home. And whether you want to or not, you are impacting in a major way your family life and the relationship you have with your family. So think about, as we go through the processes today, how much impact being stuck in the weeds is having on the people around you, the people you most want to take care of, the people you most want to support. You're making their lives as miserable probably as you're making your own. So let's get on with some solutions. So just a little bit about my story, and I'm going to tell you this just as an example of what can happen to you and where these 5 steps came from. So I ran a media buying agency for 11 years, was doing very, very well, very well. The first 18 months, I was a solopreneur. As I said, doing very well, but working 24/7, working on many weekends, working after dinner at night. I had 2 small kids at the time. I just was working night and day, and I was exhausted, and there wasn't enough energy for me to come home and be a good wife and mother. I also couldn't keep up with the business I had. Even though business was coming in at quite a clip, even though my revenue was great, I was just running to stay up on top of it. The worst thing is I had to say no to several very lucrative new clients. And even those favorite clients that I was taking care of were getting less than stellar work as I was at that point exhausted and burnt out. So the big aha moment for me was I realized that I had no time to look for new clients. I was totally dependent on the ones I had, which is a very dangerous position to be in. If this is you, where you have maybe a nice portfolio of clients and you're happy and you've got revenue coming in, but you aren't bringing in, there's no one in the pipeline, you're not bringing in any more business, this is the kiss of death, because you never know what might happen to the business you currently have. There might be a change in management, and you never know if that business is going to be yours again. People change their minds. People change direction. No matter what business you are in, you need to be constantly growing, or you're going to ultimately be dying. So being in that position where I didn't have the time to look for new clients, I knew was a kiss of death, and I didn't want to stay there. So in that, I couldn't keep up with the business I had, and I was exhausted, and I couldn't afford the time to prospect. I just could see that I was at a spiraling loop that wasn't going to be working for me. So I had three choices. I could continue to struggle, which really wasn't an option because I was so fried. I could give up, which is always an option, and fold the business and find a job, always an option if you're an entrepreneur. Or I could try to figure this out and win, because the status quo was not sustainable. But I needed a roadmap. If I knew what to do, I would be doing it, right? I made a decision to change my mindset from loving being the worker bee, because I loved what I was doing, loved it. I had to change the mindset from being a worker bee to being the true CEO of my business, where I was actually running a business, looking for growth, looking for new clients, prospecting, creating visibility, rather than the doing of the work. This was a major shift, but I realized that I had to get out of that worker bee mentality if I was going to be able to grow my business and survive. But I really didn't know what to do. As I said, if I knew what to do, I would have been doing it. So I really didn't know what I should do. I decided I was going to hire a business coach. And I did a search to find one who had been in a similar set of circumstances in mine. I wanted someone who had run an agency, who had grown it, had been through those initial stages where you're doing it all yourself, and had gone on to build a team and build a business and find success. That's what I was looking for. So I did quite a bit of research. I found a coach and I hired that coach. But let me tell you something. This was a huge leap of faith. I can't tell you how I was not prepared to spend the money to hire a very expensive coach. I just held my nose and dove into the deep end of the pool, because I had no other option. As I said in that earlier slide, I could either, go back to work, or I could fold a business, or I could just continue to be exhausted. But I really had no other choice, since I did not have a plan. I didn't have a map for how to get out of this. But after working with this woman for maybe even 2 weeks, I realized that this had not been an expense. This had been a great investment in my business. And it was, once again, a total mindset shift from being an expense that I didn't think I could afford to make to an investment in my business and in my future. So I took a look at all of my strengths and weaknesses and decided I had to devote my energy to building the business, not doing the business. I had to become the new biz dev queen and to find a way to let others serve my clients. Now keep in mind, for 18 months, I'd been the only, game in town. So I had been finding the clients, bringing the clients in, onboarding the clients, taking care of the clients, doing the work to do the media buying, getting the reports out. I've been doing everything. So the thought of being willing and able to step away from that, to have people come in and support me to do the lion's share of that work, was pretty scary. But I also realized that I wasn't great at doing a lot of that activity. I personally am not a detail person. A lot of that work was highly detail oriented. So for me to be hanging on to those activities was doing myself and my business a huge disservice. So I had to start serving in my zone of genius, not reacting to the fire drills that were happening every day. I had to find a system that would allow me to jump off that horrible hamster wheel, allow me to start building a business and doing what I do best, which is new business development, taking care of clients, creating visibility, content creation. Those were my skills, not the day-to-day. So I started to carefully and cautiously invest in a team and spend some money on building a prospecting system. The results were my business grew each year for 9 more years after that. I built a carefully selected team of rock stars. I started to consistently bring in more business every month. This is from a position of having not been able to bring any new business in. I was bringing in more business every month that we as a group could service well. But mostly I could sleep at night and even take vacations. And when I sold the business, we were doing millions of revenue every year, all due to the steps I'm going to lay out for you today. So this is possible for you too, no matter what niche you're in, no matter what shape your business is in right now. This is the 5 steps that you can be taking. So before I jump into what those 5 steps are, let me also preface by saying there were some keys to my success, which I hope that you embrace also. You need to be open to change. Clearly what you'd done up to now wasn't going to be what you were going to be doing in the future. Because again, if you knew what you had to do, you would have been doing it. You needed to be open to change in mindset, change in the organization of your business. You need to be open to making changes. I was willing to do the work, right? There are no magic bullets here. There's no pill you can take that's going to make this turnaround happen. It takes work. It takes putting your feet in front of the other. I needed to take action every single day, even on the days when I woke up and didn't feel like doing anything, even on the days where I woke up and I thought this is hopeless. You need to take action every single day. You also need to start the change before you feel ready. I can't paint a picture more strongly about what it felt to hire that business coach. I was just waving my credit card, right? I really was not ready. I certainly didn't have enough cash in the bank to hire this woman. But I felt a need to get started even before I was ready, because that was the only way I was going to turn the business around. You need to build your business for the future, not just today. So those are some of the keys that I want you to keep in mind as we start talking about the 5 steps. So let's discover these 5 steps. They're mindset changes, time management, thinking like a CEO, not a worker bee, starting to build a team, and systems, tools, and templates. And let me get into the nitty-gritty of all of these. So for the purpose of the masterclass here, I'm going to spend a little more time on the first one, which is mindset. Because mindset, even if you have all the other ducks in a row, if your mindset isn't appropriate, if you are in the right mindset, nothing else is going to make a difference. You need to be, well, I'll talk about mindset. I'm going to talk about this in more detail, and then I'm going to go through the other 4 steps more quickly so we can actually get through this in under 3 days. So let me start with mindset. I love this quote from our friend Jack Sparrow. The problem is not the problem. The problem is your attitude about the problem. I said it earlier, but you need to decide that you're going to be successful. You need to make that decision that you're going to be successful. You need to start from that mindset. You are going to be all in, whatever it takes. There'll be problems and challenges, and sometimes huge, but you want to think of these as hurdles and problems to be solved, not walls that you're going to run into. Again, that's a mindset shift. So the core of success in business and in life really is mindset. And you need to be of the mind that you are going to be successful, no matter how hard you have to work, no matter what it takes, just with the innate understanding that you're going to be successful. When you're acting from a solid mindset, you have confidence, you have freedom, you have creativity and clarity. You get out of your own way, but rest assured you can't hop over this step. We're going to work on it together. So one of the mindset changes I want to talk about, which probably comes up the most of all the solopreneurs I've worked with, both in my business as a coach and also the women I've come into contact with in my network in my many years in the business. This, I think, is probably the primary one that comes up. It's called imposter syndrome. And this is, I love that picture of those little raccoons there. Imposter syndrome, if you're not familiar with the phrase, is for anyone, it's where you feel like a fraud, right? Who am I to be doing whatever it is? Who am I to be doing this podcast? Who am I to be conducting this program? Who am I to think that I could be in a position of being an expert? That's called imposter syndrome, where you feel like you have no right to be doing whatever it is that you're doing. Imposter syndrome comes up for everyone anytime they reach beyond their comfort zone. It comes up for entrepreneurs. It comes up for celebrities. How many interviews have you read where, they talk about the fact that they couldn't believe they were brought in to do this particular part, or every time they get on stage, they think, oh my God, this is ridiculous. I have no idea what I'm doing. It's not just you and me. It's everybody who takes the trouble and challenges themselves to step outside of their comfort zone. So let me tell you just one story about a client of mine, Kate. Kate was uncomfortable being the expert. Oops, sorry, let me go back. Sorry. Okay, here we are. Sorry about that. Kate had been a solopreneur copywriter for decades. She was my copywriter for, as I said, I've had 4 businesses. Kate had been my copywriter for much of what I'd done throughout that time. Excellent copywriter, stellar. She just sparkled. But when she was done, she was done. She'd done it for 20 years. She felt she was ready to do something else with her career. And she decided she wanted to be a writing coach. But she didn't know how to get started. And she needed a framework. She needed a hand to hold. She needed someone to help her through the process of getting this business off the ground. So Kate hired me as her business coach. And I think we had 6 or 12 sessions together. I can't remember right now how many it was. But once we started working together, it was for the beginning of the first session, it was very clear to me that Kate was very uncomfortable positioning herself as the expert. Even though she'd done stellar copywriting for 20 years, even though she knew everything upside down and sideways for how to be a coach, to be a writer, she said, who am I to be the sage? Who am I to think that I can direct other people in how they should be doing writing? So once we took the first session to really tease apart that whole concept of what does she mean by she's afraid of being the sage? Why is she afraid of it? We really tore it apart so she could examine it and start to build confidence in the fact that she had everything she could possibly need to be a writing coach. But it took some time. It took some examination so she could get over that imposter syndrome. And once we started working together after the first session or 2, she was at the position where she actually brought on a few contractors to help her doing the busy work of her job so she could go out and land new clients. By the end of the 2nd and 3rd month, Kate was bringing in some excellent contracts as a writing coach, and her career was launched. But it took some attention to the mindset changes she needed to get through, and that big one was imposter syndrome. So that's mindset, and I will tell you that this is one of about 9 that we will talk about later. But I start with this because it's so important. So the next step is time management. So as I say, I'm going to touch on the next 4 quickly so we can get through this. So the one thing I hear from every solopreneur, and tell me if this sounds right for you too, is that they are time starved. And no matter who I'm working with or what business they are in, people will tell me, I just can't get everything done on my to-do list. I can't make progress. I can't find enough hours in the day, enough days in the week. I just can't get it all done. If you are going to grow your business, you have to master your time, not let it take control of you so that you can be in charge and you can build your business. There are techniques for doing that, and I talk about these. I talk about how you can do this when we're going to talk about the Solo to CEO course later in the presentation. But this is one thing that you have to get under your belt, or else you're never going to go anywhere. So the bad news is that the longer you stay in this trap of being out of control as far as time management is concerned, the less likely it is that you'll ever crawl out of it. You get used to being busy, right? Isn't it true that when most people say, how are you? Most of us tend to say busy. You get used to being busy. That becomes a comfort zone for you. Even if you're completely stressed and are tearing your hair, being that level of busy seems comfortable to you. So if you maintain that though, and that feels comfortable, it's going to get harder and harder to get out of that trap. So I also guarantee you will burn out and lose the passion you had for your business if you keep up this momentum. And unless you start controlling your time, it will control you and you'll never accomplish your goals. You are at the effect of everyone else's agenda. So how many clients do you have? How many students do you have? How many customers do you have? If you can't take control of your time during the week, and you're going to answer every email and every phone call that you get immediately, you're never going to get on top of your own goals. So the time management issue is not small. The trick to working this is honoring the way you want to run your business. A few examples. You might be a mother of young kids. You might be in charge of drop off and pick up. So you know without a doubt that you're going to have to leave your desk at 7:45 to go drop off the kids. You won't be back at your desk until 7:15. So there's a half an hour in there and maybe another 15 minutes where you get a cup of coffee and run to the restroom. And there's 45 minutes in there that you are out of pocket and you can't be responding to or even think about answering any work-related activities. Same with the pickup time. So there are two 45-minute chunks in your day where you are not, you're not available. Unless you work your day around that, you're going to feel stressed and pulled in a million different directions and guilty because you're not available 24/7. So this is a small example of how managing your schedule around your time is important. You might be someone who wants to only work 4 days a week. You might be someone who only wants to work 3 days a week from 10 to 4. The sooner you can set that in place for yourself, the sooner you're going to be able to arrange everything else you're doing around that. This takes discipline at first. It's like a muscle that needs to be strengthened, but you'll become more productive, less stressed, and more excited about your business, the more you can take control of it, of your time. So let me tell you also another client I had, Kathleen. Kathleen is a consultant in the e-commerce industry. She had been around doing her business for, I want to say 20 to 30 years. And she took a hiatus. And after 5 or 10 years ago, 5 years ago, she wanted to come back to business. And so she was jumping back in after having been out of not visible for quite a long time. So she came in, she had also moved. She was ready to start a business again. She called me for business coaching after she had been trying to get her business relaunched and was not having any success at it. And when we started talking about this, she told me that she was very busy, but she didn't seem to be making any progress, right? She wasn't getting any new accounts. She wasn't getting any more networking done. She wasn't making any progress. And again, with the first session with her, we talked about time management. Early on in her sessions, we talked about time management. She now was at a point where she didn't want to work 7 days a week, as she had been doing as a consultant earlier in her career. She didn't want to be working 40 or 50 hours. She was at a different stage of life. And she wanted to be spending time with her husband, who was older. She had a very active volunteer role that she was playing. She wanted to make sure that her personal life could fit in with her business life. So we sat down and organized her calendar such that she was only going to sit down at her desk Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings from 9 to noon. And those were her work times. And we then delineated what she was going to get done during those 3 periods of time. And maybe other periods of time she would be out there doing some networking, having lunches with some potential clients, what have you. But she had outlined this time that she would actually get work done. What that meant was she knew she only had 3 time blocks to get the work done. She didn't have to feel guilty once that time block was done because she had done what she was supposed to do. Now she was free to do the rest of her life. And what she found was she was far more focused. She got far more focused in defining her goals, defining where she wanted to find new clients, getting very precise on her avatar and her potential customer. She got very good at doing outreach quickly so that she could fit it into those time blocks. She got very good at what she was doing and probably working a whole lot less than she had been working before because she took control of her time. So this, again, is the second step that is critical if you're going to go from being a solopreneur to truly being a CEO. So let's talk about that thinking like a CEO piece. strategy before tactics. You don't want to start doing until you have an overall picture of what you're going to be doing and what a CEO does. You know, I think when I went from being in the worker bee, that 18 months in my company where I was alone and I was doing everything myself, the biggest fear I had was, if I'm not doing the worker bee stuff, what am I doing, right? If you take that off of my desk, what do I do? Because I've been so busy doing this other stuff, this worker bee stuff. So what am I doing? If I'm not doing the work, what am I doing? And this is what I hear from most of the solopreneurs I work with as I start to help them evolve into becoming a CEO. Their first question is, what am I doing? What do I do with my time? So let's talk about what you're doing with your time as a true CEO. You're creating the vision and the direction for the business, for one thing. No one else can do that but you. You're probably finding and bringing in new clients and projects. It's very unlikely that someone in an administrative capacity can do that. Only you could do that. So you're the one who's going to create the opportunities for the vision that you're going to set for your business. So think like a CEO. You want to get in the, you want to move in the direction of getting yourself out of the day-to-day. You want to be, your business might mean that you are the one servicing all the clients, doing the books, creating a newsletter, and getting all the graphics, all the things. You're probably doing all the things right now. Working on your business means that you aren't doing all the things. You're in the position of being a leader and delegating to the people that you will have found and trained to take over the work that you have been doing as a worker bee. So ultimately, your job is not to work in your business on those administrative tasks, but to work on it. So let me tell you about another client, Amanda. Amanda had a business where she was a service-based business. She did CEO work for companies, and she created websites. And along with that, she did their CEO strategies and their SEO strategies and that sort of thing. So she was busy building websites. She was the person I brought in to build my first website and help me with some SEO work as well. Amanda was fried. She was so busy. Business was good, but every time I called her, she was too busy to talk, could only take, 2 or 3 minutes to talk to me, even though I was a client. She was just busy, busy, busy. She was buried in work and could not see herself getting out of this hole she dug herself into despite years of trying. She had a very going concern in this business. She was up and running, and it was healthy. She had a lot of revenue coming in. But like me in my early stage, she didn't have the ability to get more business because she couldn't service it. And also she was just working all the time. Because it was a done-for-you business, because she was providing services, she couldn't see any other way. So again, she hired me to come in and help her define a business that would get her out of this busy, busy, busy life. So she was stuck in the worker bee mentality for sure. And one of the things that we started doing when we were working together is we started talking about how could you start delegating? Where could you start delegating? Where could you start building a team? And it turned out that she was doing everything. She was doing everything from administrative work to building the sites to doing the SEO research. She wanted to be creating courses. She wanted to be doing not done for you work, but holding masterminds, helping other people do what she was doing. She wanted to be getting out of the one-to-one model. So the first thing I did when we started working together as her coach was I had her double her prices, not increase her prices, double her prices. She kicked and screamed. She didn't want to do this. She was sure she would lose all her clients. It was absolutely unacceptable to her. And somehow, after talking to her for quite a while, I was able to get her to double her price. She was afraid she'd lose all her clients. But I knew what would happen. First of all, she was undercharging tremendously, which most solopreneurs do, which is why they're in this trap. She doubled her prices. She did lose a few clients, but the clients she lost were the ones who were the most problematic, asked the most questions, required the most attention, and whose work was the most granular and unsatisfying. So she lost those clients, but she was able to make the same amount of revenue with fewer clients and have a much better time of it, because the people who were willing to go with her in a new pay structure were the ones who respected her and wanted to do more work with her. So much to her surprise, she was earning the same amount of revenue by doing maybe half the work. She then was able to find the time to structure the business that she actually wanted. She started creating several courses that she could then start selling online. She started doing masterminds for people who also wanted to be website developers. She had a business where she could actually scale and grow and get out of the worker bee model. But again, it took the bravery of getting out of her own way to be able to say, I want to start thinking like a CEO now. So mindset issues that can come up around delegating when we talk about building a team, which is the fourth step. The mindset issues that can come around are, I can't afford it. I can do it myself. I can't trust anyone else. Does this sound familiar to you? I can do it myself. I can't trust anyone else. No one else will do it as well as I can. These are mindset issues that you need to be able to work through. Fear of spending money can keep you stuck. If you want to grow, you have to start spending money. You have to start small, but you have to start. And spending money to build a team. And as I did with my business coach, and I wasn't spending small, this is investing, not spending. It might be like spending the first few weeks, but if you're spending to get more revenue in, you're going to tilt in that direction pretty quickly. So this will free you up to start building, not running on your hamster wheel. So that shift that has to happen is giving yourself permission to start hiring people, even on a very small basis, to start freeing you up, Ms. Solopreneur, to be Ms. CEO. And it's hard to imagine until you've experienced the freedom that this buys you. So that's the fourth step, which is building a team and getting over those very mindset issues that are probably keeping you from doing that. Fear of delegation, fear of letting go of control, fear that someone else won't do it as well as you can, fear that someone else, you know you can do it faster than they can. Those are all things that we would want to work through together so that you're not stuck in that trap of doing it all yourself. So the last of the 5 steps is systems, tools, and templates. This is going to buy you freedom. And let me say, this stuff is not sexy, people, but it's critical to make the shift from solopreneur to CEO. And every time you repeat an action in your business, whether it's sending an email or a proposal or something, anytime you repeat a process, it's going to keep you on that hamster wheel unless you can create a system or a template out of what you're doing. So also you want to be planning for someone else to be doing these things. So whether it's designing a template or video tutorials or teaching someone else how to do what it is we're talking about, or creating a template that they can follow, a system can be followed by anyone, but not the CEO. So you're setting yourself up with systems and templates and tools such that you're making the way for someone else to come in and do the busy work. Busy work's not fair. Doing the work that you've been doing that's kept you tied to your desk. So you want to always be planning with an eye to the future. You want to plan to have someone else do the what you're doing. It's not going to happen all at once, right? You're not going to just dump whatever's on your lap, on your desk, onto someone else's desk. But you want to start planning in that direction. Create checklists, create templates or video tutorials to teach someone else how. This is time consuming in the beginning, but because you're going to be doing these things anyway, why not systematize them? Why not document them? Why not put them into a video so you can show someone else how you do it? Again, it takes a little bit of work up front, but this will buy you your freedom in the future when you start bringing people in to help you. So you want to start to develop systems that can be followed by anyone but not the CEO. So start planning for your future company right now by creating those systems for your future contractors or employees. Don't miss this step. Again, next week, when you send out a newsletter, document the process. You're going to do it anyway. Document it so you can get someone else on board to help you when you're ready. So let me give you one thought here. The best athletes and politicians and business people and coaches in the world have mentors. Why, Miss Solopreneur, would you want to do this alone? So again, I'm going to recap. The 5 steps are mindset changes, time management, thinking like a CEO, start to build a team, systems, tools, and templates. These are the processes, the steps that are going to take you from hair on fire solopreneur to working your way into being the CEO of a business that's poised to thrive and grow. But you have a choice now. You have 2 choices. You can stay stuck and scared and don't take action and play it safe, or you can take some action, go all in. Remember, you made that mindset decision that you were going to succeed, and invest in yourself. So let's make it happen. These 5 steps work. Just see how many of my clients have had success with it. And as I said, I developed these when I was at my worst position as a solopreneur, meaning I was so stuck in the weeds. These are the steps that I've developed. They've helped me. They helped me create thriving businesses. They've helped my clients get out of that solopreneur trap. This system works. So if you'd like me to help you implement everything we've gone over today, I would really be excited to do so. So again, let me say I have a free gift, but you have to stay with me a while longer. I'm going to tell you about it after I've gone through telling you about the course that I want to invite you to. So I want to invite you to Solo to CEO, which is my course for how to get yourself out of the solopreneur role. And let me just delineate for you what's in the course so you know what to expect. So, and no surprise, it follows the framework that we've just set up in the 5 steps. The first module is mindset, fears, and vision. And this is the first step you're going to take, and you're going to spend some very good, hard time looking at your own mindset to find where you have mindset issues that are keeping you stuck as a solopreneur. We'll talk about conquering imposter syndrome. We'll learn that working 24/7 is not acceptable and how to get out of that trap. We'll understand how a fear of failure or even a fear of success may be what's keeping you stuck. We'll learn that the fear of spending money on your business is a major problem and how to change that mindset. So in all of the modules I'm describing to you now, we talked about in the 5 steps what those steps were, but the modules and the course itself is going to tell you how to do the what of what we've described. Module 2 is time management like a boss. This is where I really detail for you how you can get on top of your calendar, how you can manage your time so that you're not at the effect of everybody else and you can grow into becoming the true CEO. So we're going to talk about maximizing your productivity with time blocking. Honor your own personal energy levels with a schedule that works for you and your life and your family. You might want to work a 3-day week or a 6-hour day by setting boundaries. We talk about setting boundaries. We talk about taming the out-of-control to-do list with the 4 Ds. Very powerful stuff once you learn how to use these techniques. The 3rd module is thinking like a CEO. What does a CEO? We go into much more detail about what a CEO should be doing, how to use your time strategically so that it truly is CEO time, how to work on your business, in your business. What does that mean? We talk in detail about what that means. The secrets of building the right team by starting small, and there's no need to break the bank to start building a team. What to measure? What are your key performance indicators so that you can track whether or not you are performing well as a CEO and whether or not your business is growing the way you want it to. Module 4 is building your team without breaking the bank. So again, I can't say this strongly enough. The skill set that you've mastered, which was what probably made you want to start your business. You were a great chiropractor. You're a great fill in the blank CPA. You're a great whatever it is. That's what started you in your business. But these are not the skills that are going to get you into growing a business. This is a whole different set of skills. So to do these, you need to start learning different skill sets. And you want to start building a team to start filling in for those pieces of work that you no longer should be doing. So in Module 4, we'll talk about understanding the 4 stages of team building. It doesn't happen overnight. It shouldn't be painful. It shouldn't be expensive. So we'll talk about those 4 stages. We'll identify how to know when it's the right time to start building your team and help you get started. Learn to identify exactly what your team members will be doing to allow you to be the CEO and learn how to build a team without spending a ton of money. We'll talk about outsourcing versus hiring, and there's a whole process that we work through together to help you make that transformation for yourself. So the fifth, again, is creating systems, tools, and templates to create your own freedom. Again, I'm sorry, but this doesn't sound sexy, but it has to be done. The 5 steps to help create systems that ensure your freedom. What is repeated activity can turn into a template or a system for someone else to implement. So I'm going to give you your own templates. I'll give you some worksheets for how to come up with your own ideas for how you can start building those processes for other people. We'll talk about the power of batching activities and automating others. These are techniques that are going to save you from being the worker bee. And you might want to start with frequently asked questions. These are the key to where to start building your systems, because you're going to be in repetition mode all the time unless you can start putting those in a framework that you can repeat over time. So that 5th one is creating systems and templates for other people. So the bonus module, which I just love, is escaping the money scarcity trap. So in that you're a solopreneur, maybe longer than you should have been. Usually this is because of mindset issues around money. So do you think you don't have enough? Does money work for you, or do you work for money? Do you see present expenditures as a value add for your future business, or you just think of it as expense? Do you spend money with purpose? So in this module, we talk about the 7 money blocks that are keeping you from growing and how to eliminate them. How to start charging what you're worth. Oh my gosh, remember back to Amanda who had the company that she just couldn't get out of her own way because she wasn't charging up. We worked through doubling her prices, and now she actually was able to build a business of her dreams. So we'll talk about how to work through with you, how to start charging with your worth, how to get comfortable with sales. Most solopreneurs say, I love what I do. I could talk about it all day long, but I hate selling. I can't sell. I can't sell to save my soul. So we're going to talk about how to get comfortable with sales. It's a process it's easy. I happen to love it. It's just takes a different mindset and a different format to go into sales before you start to love it too. We'll also talk about sources of money. If you really feel at the end of the day that you just need more cash to run your business, we'll talk about that. There is money out there. I give you 6, I think, ways to get money into your bank account so that you can grow your business. So those are the 5 modules with the bonus. For each module, there are worksheets and resources and templates to help you walk through this transformation for yourself. But wait, there's more. And this is really important. I don't want to downplay that. There are 2 things that are going to be critical for you. I find that this kind of a transformation is very hard to make happen alone. So there's community that I would love you to plug into. There's a private Facebook group where you can interact with the other people in this group. And there are already a whole bunch of women in this group. And there's a lot of engagement, a lot of activity. And this is where you're going to be able to talk about the things that you don't tell other people about because you're too embarrassed, right? So it's where you can talk about mindset issues that are still hanging you up. Ask for resources for other people. Ask for how they've solved problems. It's private. It's just us chickens. It's a great way to work through the course by using your community. The second thing that is equally important is that we have weekly office hours. So every Wednesday, I think I'm doing Wednesday now, every Wednesday at noon Pacific time, we spend an hour on the phone, and it's open mic. So you can ask any questions about the course, any questions about your business. It's open mic for everybody. So we'll be masterminding together. This is a time for you to really get feedback from me as a coach on how you're doing with the process of becoming a CEO. Invaluable. So again, it's not just me talking to you, it's a whole group of people on the phone together for an hour every week. So bonuses, I don't want to forget this. You have lifetime access to the class. I've run this class a number of times now. I'm always adding content to it. No matter when you join the class, you have access to whatever is in that course for as long as it's available. That bonus module on money is something that will go away unless you want to jump in. There's a video tutorial on how to use Asana. One of the things I talk about in time management is the importance of managing yourself and using some kind of a project management tool to make sure that you're on track and getting things done so that your team can also be working with you. So I use Asana, other people use Trello. I have a video tutorial on how to use Asana, just as an example for one of the tools that you can be using to get really on top of making yourself as productive as you possibly can. So the last thing I want to tell you about is that there's a 100% money back guarantee. There's no risk in signing up for the course. If after the first 14 days, up to the first 14 days, there's a money back guarantee. So if you find within the first 2 weeks that you're not happy with the course, just let me know. Just send me an email and I'll refund all your money. So there's really no risk involved in taking a stab at this. So now it's up to you, right? Do you want to make this transformation from solopreneur with your hair on fire to really building a business and being the CEO of a business that has growth and opportunity in front of it? Do you want to do this fast or slow? I find that if left to my own devices, if I've got a goal, I might get there, but I'm more likely to get there if I have hands to hold. If I have a process in front of me, if I have other people going through the same steps, if I have other people to bounce ideas off of and hold me accountable. So one of the things that we do on those weekly calls is we have accountability. What do you want to accomplish next week? And then the following week, I ask you if you accomplished that goal. So I want to invite you to join the Solo to CEO class. And this is the, if you see up there, that's the URL for the landing page if you want to hop over now and take a look at that. So this is what the registration looks like. You can either sign up via PayPal or Stripe, depending upon what flavor of the class you're getting. So what's the pricing? That's the first question that everyone wants to know when I made you wait this long. But there are 3 tiers of the course I want to make you aware of. The first is the Solo to CEO class, which is 6 video modules. The videos themselves are 30 minutes or so. They're downloads and resources and worksheets for every single module, plus the community. So that is the first tier where you get the modules, the worksheets, the resources, the templates, the weekly office hours, the group coaching, the private Facebook group. That is a total of $997 for the 6 weeks. But there's also an installment plan of $175 a month, which might make it easier for you to jump in. So if you pay in full, you save 10%. But if it's easier to jump in at a smaller level, you can start at $175. So that's the Solo to CEO class plus the community. The second tier is if you want more help from me, you get the Solo to CEO plus community package, everything we just talked about, plus private coaching from me, where you and I are working one-to-one. We'll have 4 sessions in the course of this 6 weeks where you work directly with me so that I make sure and you make sure that you're getting as much out of this as you possibly can. And I'm going to work directly with you to make sure that you are working through this process and going through the transformation that you need to do to come to grips with becoming the CEO. That's $1997 or 6 monthly installments of $365. Again, you can save 10% by paying in full. Last thing, if you are a do-it-yourself kind of gal, where you don't feel you need anybody's input, you can take just the class, right? The 6 video modules, the downloads, the worksheets for $497. You can get 3 monthly installments for $180. But you don't have any involvement with the community. You don't have access to the Facebook page or the weekly calls or to me. This is just you doing it on your own. This is a great way to start if you really want to get your hands around how to make this happen. So I would love to get started with you. You can get started for $175. You can save money with a single payment, but I have to say, there's a typo there. The price is going to go up with the next launch of the business. So the course will start. Let me go back. Doors are open now. If you want to sign up now, what will happen is that you'll have access to the course right away. You can start working through the course right away. Those office hours calls happen every Wednesday at noon Pacific time. I'm already doing those because I have 3 or 4 launches that I've done before this. So these are a happening kind of thing. The Facebook group is already going. So if you want to get started, please jump in. But the course is going to go up. Next time I launch this course, it will be more expensive. So the course is open now. Doors will be closing for this launch June 17th. So if you want to jump in, this is the time to get the best pricing you possibly can. So just to make this, put this in some kind of a framework, if you were to get all of this on an individual basis, the modules, the video modules themselves would be about $3,000. My group coaching program, I have a mastermind program that I do for 6 weeks, is $1,500. So that, even if you just had that, that alone is, you're getting a bargain with this course, because I would be charging you $1,500 otherwise. But the training, the Facebook groups, the group coaching, the downloads, all of that stuff, you know, but $7,000 or $10,000 or $4,000, whatever it is, it's an enormous amount of value. At $997, you're getting a huge amount of value. So just want to put that into perspective for you. One last thing is, I like people who like to take action quickly. I don't know about you, but I'm a ready, fire, aim kind of gal. I really like to if I've made a decision, I get going fast. So the first 5 people to sign up will get a 30-minute individual coaching call with me, so we can really set you up one-to-one to make sure that you're ready to make this transformation. This is good only for 24 hours after you've viewed this video. So that's it for me. If you have questions, please put them in the chat and I will get back to you. I'm going to leave this up here. This is the URL to find the sign-up page for the Solo to CEO course. I would love to see you there. Please don't do this on your own. If your hair is on fire as a solopreneur and you want to get out of this, you just need to work through the steps with someone else and a group of people who could help you get there. So I hope to see you there on the course. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for joining me.